Hello, everybody. I'm Jesse Waters, along with Emily Campagno, Juan Williams, Dana Perino, and Greg Gutfeld. It's 5 o'clock in New York, and this is The Five. President Trump blasting Michael Cohen after his former lawyer pleads guilty to lying to Congress and agrees to cooperate with the special counsel. Cohen saying in court today that he misled Congress about the timeline of a potential Trump Organization real estate deal in Moscow. Cohen originally telling lawmakers talks ended in January 2016, but is now claiming they didn't wrap up until June of the same year. Trump slamming his former attorney in the wake of these developments.
He's a weak person and not a very smart person. He's got himself a big prison sentence, and he's trying to get a much lesser prison sentence by making up a story. Now, here's the thing. Even if he was right, it doesn't matter, because I was allowed to do whatever I wanted during the campaign. He's lying about a project that everybody knew about. I mean, we were very open with it. We were thinking about building a building. I decided ultimately not to do it. There would have been nothing wrong if I did do it.
Meanwhile, investigation-happy Democrats like little Adam Schiff are not satisfied with Trump providing written answers to Robert Mueller. Sherrod Brown also hinting the Russia investigation is only the beginning of what's coming.
There really needs to be a live interview with the president, because you need to be able to ask follow-up questions in real time.
There will be investigations of the president using his office to enrich his family. There will be investigations on other things.
Trump is warning Democrats against what he's calling presidential harassment. The president saying he's a counterpuncher and may declassify devastating Russia probe documents if they don't back down. What's so funny, Juan? You know those documents are devastating.
Devastating.
Yes, David.
You know, this is the thing about Trump. The advertising, the hype, the Christmas season is here. But with Trump, it's every day. It's bigger. It's grander. It's going to be the best ever.
Let's talk about the Michael Cohen situation. So Trump's legal team is saying what he told Robert Mueller about the Russia deal. It wasn't even a deal. It matches with Cohen's statement in court today, and there was really no discrepancy.
What?
So what's the big deal?
Are you kidding?
Yeah, Robert Mueller never asked him when the deal fell apart or when it ended. So what's the problem?
Listen, Trump was tweeting in the middle of 2016 after the primaries that there was no deal, nothing going on, no relationship, no business going on with Russia.
Well, there was no deal.
And what we know now from Cohen's plea deal today, Jesse, is that in fact he was not only continuing to do this deal, not only continuing to brief Trump on it, but actually in touch with Vladimir Putin's office in order to try to get the deal done. So Trump was trying to make money while he's running for president, doesn't tell the American people this, which suggests that he's about his interest, his making money, not our interest.
Everybody knows he was running the Trump Organization when he was running for president.
Well, then so then why didn't he say straight up, hey, I'm still trying to get a deal to build a Trump Tower in Moscow? No, he didn't do that. He lied about it.
Well, there was no deal. I guess in your opinion, a deal happens before you sign it, but that's not how usually
what he said was he had
deals.
nothing, no contact, no business dealings going on with Russia. That's what he said.
Okay. Emily, if you are now working with people like Michael Cohen, who's lied a few times, and you're working with Manafort, who's also lied, and Rick Gates, who's also lied, are you now saying that when they're offering this new testimony that it's not believable because they're facing hard prison time? Because a lot of people are saying that's the reason they've changed their stories.
Right, you can absolutely make that argument, right, that the reason that credibility is pierced is because obviously here's a career criminal liar, here's why. But that's when corroborating evidence comes into play. That's when the prosecution has to step up and do their job and say, it doesn't matter whether you believe this person in this moment based on their history. Here's why we are proving when they are lying and when they are telling the truth. So it kind of it means that you need to take that step further on prosecution's part. I want to point something else out as well. Just going back to Jerome Corsi, for a second.
You know him as Jim.
Yeah, my boy Jim. I want to point out, though, that people continue predicting prosecution's behavior and kind of trying to ascribe a certain set of structure and parameters to what's going to happen next, only in this investigation, but the ancillary ones, right, with prosecutions. And you can never predict and you can never ascribe a certain set of rules. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because with Corsi, he gave them everything voluntarily. He literally sat down with them and said, this is my password and here's my phone and here's everything I own and let me help you. And then they called him on something where he said, They called him on something where he said, oh, I don't remember. And they then circled back and said, here's evidence to the contrary. He then amended his answer formally. And then they still threatened this felony charges of being untruthful under oath in this investigation. So the fact that the prosecution can do whatever they want, they can change their mind, they can make decisions that don't make sense to us or that suddenly represent a tangent in their development means that for all of us trying to kind of predict or read the tea leaves, anything is possible at this point.
Yeah, these are brass knuckle players. I mean, you saw the Ted Stevens situation, the same guys were involved in that, and the Enron situation.
Hey, you know, Jesse, I just want to interject. I know we'll be quick about it, but you were suggesting to Emily that, gee, these guys are liars. They've lied about things in the past. But we know from Manafort, right, that in fact, he is checked by the prosecutor, and that's why the prosecutor broke the plea deal, and that's why Trump is now floating the idea of a pardon for Manafort.
Did he float it?
I think he floated it.
I don't think he floated it.
He said it's not off the table, literally.
Okay, so
that's not floating a
what is that? What's that? That's putting it out there. Isn't it?
well, he was asked a specific question on the Post about it. Dana, so, you know, he's going overseas. Jet's about to take off, and Mueller drops this thing. Same thing in Helsinki. The same thing happened.
You know, Dana's rule of thumb.
What's that?
Any time the president of the United States, no matter who it is, travels overseas to one of these big meetings, something happens in domestic politics that keeps your attention divided, and it's frustrating because now you're on a time difference. You're trying to do things with all of these other leaders, the G20 leaders, and get that done. So that's right, but they'll be fine. I actually think that President Trump should. I think he should defer to Rudy Giuliani. Say, I'm going to be gone for 3 days. I want you to be the spokesperson on this. You handle it, and I am going to focus on the business at hand as the president of the United States.
So no tweeting at all.
I'm not going to tell him not to tweet, but I think that in terms of engaging with like today, when he took all of those questions today, I don't think that he needs to do that when he's in Argentina. He did that today. He said what he had to say, and now he can go and do the important business that a president of the United States.
But Dana, he canceled the meeting with Putin.
Yes, he did. I think that was the right thing to do.
Well, maybe he's not in bed with Putin, as everybody suggests. Greg, do today's developments make you more or less interested in the story?
I have a series of 4 points, and I don't know if I should do them all or just pick one. Let's do them all. All right. Number one, to Emily's point. I don't know Cohen at all, but these crimes seem to be created by an investigation of crimes they couldn't find. So when you find out there's not enough there, you start looking for something else. Or maybe it's just a crime of opportunity or searching for a crime of opportunity, meaning to stop the guy for jaywalking, hoping he has pot in his pocket. And I think when you pull somebody like Cohen in, you're kind of hoping maybe he's going to lie. And guess what? To quote Juan, he did lie. But that's because he likes to lie, and a lot of lawyers and a lot of handlers and a lot of muscle men, they lie. Now, I'm with Trump. I'm sorry. Not except for Emily. Now, I'm with Trump on working until you become president. I think if I were considering running in 2020 and I do TV for a living, I'm not going to turn down a lucrative gig selling caviar in St. Petersburg because, you know, I may lose.
Might lose.
So that's why he's saying, like, I got a job. And by the way, it didn't work out. That doesn't mean he's lying. Now, the timeline. Now, here's the nut of this. It's about a timeline difference, about a real estate deal that happened before an election that never actually happened. You would find more meat at PETA headquarters. This is like really hard. So again, in the absence of bad news about our great country, the media needs this story. Might I use a metaphor?
Please.
If Donald Trump were like an amusement park, right? There's all of these great rides. You have the low unemployment log ride. You have the prosperity carousel. You have the wages water slide. You have the peace pendulum. But where's the media? They're all at the worst ride there is. It's the Mueller teacups.
Oh, the teacups.
And they're spinning around in their vomit-inducing orgy, ignoring all the great rides that America is enjoying. Because we're having such a great time, they need Mueller.
All right. Heads explode on The View after finding out Obama treated migrants the same way President Trump
I had another point.
I think you'd said enough. The meltdown ahead.
Migrant caravan, some on the left outraged over comparisons to how President Trump's predecessor handled similar situations at the border.
Last I checked, President Obama is no longer in office.
Exactly.
President Trump is in office. And this but Obama defense doesn't work for me. That's not to say using tear gas. I think it's immoral when you're using tear gas against children. But ProPublica just found that the Trump administration has secretly continued to separate kids from their families. The Obama administration never did that.
But I'm just,
the ACLU says that kind of separation is unprecedented. So this whole, but Obama did it, but Obama did it. I don't care what Obama did. I don't care what Trump is doing right here, right now.
Meanwhile, Homeland Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen shooting down claims that all the migrants are asylum seekers.
Ultimately, we only see about 9%, 10% of Central Americans who make an asylum claim actually be granted asylum by an immigration judge. If you're coming to get a job, that's not a claim for asylum. If you're coming to be with your family, that's not a claim for asylum.
So, Jesse, why don't you respond to what you just saw on The View? I think she was making the argument that this is whataboutism, and of course we got a crisis now.
You came to the right person about whataboutism, Juan. And I'll get to that in a minute. I do want to say about the separating the children thing. Someone was just brought over here with a young person, and they found out that it wasn't a relationship at all. He was raping her and trafficking her. And also, the Obama administration was responsible for placing young people in human smuggling rings. They brought them up to Ohio, and were working them like 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. And, if Trump had done that, could you imagine the outrage? Talk about whataboutism. I want to do a little experiment with you.
Please, go right
Let's reverse the name Trump and Obama with Obama scandals, okay? And let's just see how you react.
Okay.
Let's say there were alt-righters in MAGA hats with billy clubs outside of a polling station intimidating black voters from voting. And then AG at the time, Whitaker, let's say, just gave him a slap on the wrist, okay? How would you feel about that? Also, do another one. What about if Trump sold Mexican cartels handguns and rifles, and those rifles shot a U.S. Border Patrol agent, and then Whitaker wouldn't give any documents to Congress and was held in contempt? Outrageous! What if Trump bombed the bejesus out of Libya, got the dictator out of there, created a failed state, then their ambassador died, and then they blamed it on a filmmaker and arrested him and then lied about it? Imagine if Trump had done some of the things that Obama did. You guys would have been freaking out.
I think you're in a fevered state, but I do think when these things happen,
yes,
you absolutely went bonkers on Obama. Am I right?
Justifiably.
Okay. I just want to be clear. So, Emily, the argument here, I think, comes down to this, that there were incidents, repeated incidents, in which the Obama administration used tear gas at the border. And the question is whether or not, and this is the argument coming from the left, they use them on children and people seeking asylum as opposed to people who were engaged in assaults versus the Customs and Border Patrol agents.
Right. I think that argument starts parsing, and it gets beside the point, which is the fact that border skirmishes have decreased from the past administration to now, and that is notwithstanding the fact that drug and cartel involvement has increased in the last 8 years by almost 40%, and smuggling seizures at the border have increased by a factor of 10. So what I'm trying to say is that the efficiency at the border now and the respect we should have for those who are securing our border physically for us at the southern line right now should be off the charts. And to go and to respond to the comment on The View, to me, it belies an ignorance. It's exactly the point. We should care what happened under the prior administration, because we should know what the laws are and what the laws aren't, and where the confusion lies, and why a subsequent administration can do things just like a prior one did or didn't, so that we know and can lobby our legislators and stop talking about it on talk shows and actually have something substantive to say.
Well, so Dana,
I'm going to yield my time to Emily.
Yeah, but the question is, Dana, again, the use of tear gas or similar materials against children. I think that's what, especially those pictures,
just remember,
caught the attention of the American people.
Of course, and I go back to this. I don't think there's a single Border Patrol agent that wanted to use tear gas. They don't want to have to be in this position. And remember, tear gas is a way to deal with crowds that are getting out of control in a way that doesn't That's not that they want to do it. That's why the Obama team did it. That is why it's happening. And remember, it's not the Border Patrol or the Trump administration that brought the children up. One thing that I think is good is that you started to hear reports today that some of the people there are realizing that they are not going to get asylum. This is not going to work, and they're deciding to turn back.
And Greg, you know, what we have is a situation there in San Ysidro where you have now reports of squalid conditions for people, long waits, which comes to Dana's point as to why people may be just leaving. And the question is, are we, in fact, or is the Trump administration, in fact, creating a situation where people don't even get to apply for a legal
That's
asylum?
an easy question. Of course not. For one thing, they aren't gassing children. That is what they're trying to do is say, under Obama, we only shot these things at adults. But the Trump administration, they're aiming at kids. That is not true. That's fake. Okay, here's an uncomfortable truth about all this. In terms of pepper spray and gas, Trump has actually, sounds to me, Obama did it 80 times, that Trump uses less of it because Trump's stance on immigration was unambiguous. He was metaphorically the wall. He said, don't come here. We are going to repel you. We do not believe that you are refugees. We believe you are cutting in line. Therefore, that gave a message. Fewer people were coming. And therefore, you didn't need to use these kind of dispersing effects. So I think President Obama may seem more compassionate. But by being ambiguous about the border and not telling people right away what our stance is, encourage people to come, and then you have to disperse them. But the compassionate way is law and order and telling them, look, this is what's going to happen. If you come here, this is what's going to happen. But if you do it the right way, because the best answer is compassion and order. That's what we have. That's why we let in hundreds of thousands of people every year, because we're compassionate and we have an orderly process. When you violate the process and you rush and you throw bottles and rocks, they're going to shoot, spray at you, but they're not going to shoot it at kids. They're trying to get the guys that are throwing the bottles. So that's a lie.
I don't think it's a lie. And in fact, if you look at, despite this...
So you're saying our Border Patrol were aiming it at the kids?
No,
Let's get that little kid.
Kids
you were
there.
insinuating that.
No, I'm saying there were kids there. But anyway, the larger point, to my mind...
Which I'm right.
Well, that's always true. That's always true.
You better just
But the larger point is that despite this recent thing with the caravan, in fact, border crossings long continue to go down. Are Stormy Daniels and Michael Avenatti headed for a split up? Details next on The Five.
All right, he was once her defender, but now her offender. Stormy Daniels blasting the hairless haggler, Michael Avenatti, saying the courtroom cue ball sued Trump for defamation without her permission and is demanding answers about donations that she received from donors, but she never saw. Quote, for months I've asked Michael Avenatti to give me accounting information about the fund my supporters so generously donated for my safety and legal defense. Come on, guys. He has repeatedly ignored those requests. So we went to Mr. Avenatti for comment. He's lost a lot of weight there. All right, Emily, you're the lawyer here, so you claim. I haven't seen any evidence of it.
Oh, God.
How is this guy? Tell me something. How is he not being investigated by the ABA or disbarred? I mean, a lot of the stuff he does is really shady.
I totally agree. He should be. And here's what viewers need to understand. So first of all, not only does he come to the table already with a background being investigated for fraud, being accused of fraud, as well as bankruptcy and issues with funds with his clients and his prior firm, but also the single, or just to dovetail, the single largest reason that attorneys are disciplined and or disbarred is for commingling funds. It's basically for being messy with finances and in any way doing anything wrong with clients' dollars. Every single one has to be accounted for appropriately and in line with a contract. And he claims, well, the scope has changed and therefore, I'm setting up this new fund. Well, her contract didn't. And the other largest thing is that the ethics rules are clear. They are staunch that any type of material decision is a client's to make solely. It is never the attorney's. So the fact that he filed the suit on her behalf without her even input or knowledge, it's absolutely crazy. Of course he should be referred for disbarment and sued for fraud and probably malpractice too.
Wait a second, disbarment?
Yes.
Wait a second.
There's a spectrum of discipline too that really leads
I
up to
think he's
disbarment.
got a lot of issues. I don't think there's any question. But the fact is, he said all she's paid him is $100, and that the money that's come in and all these GoFundMe or whatever things that were set up was used for her security, used to help her deal with this situation. The one point that you made that struck me is that she says that the defamation suit filed against President Trump was not done with her consent, which would seem like crazy to me. You got to have the client's consent. But how many lawyers have unhappy clients? I don't think there's a shortage of them.
Yeah, that's true.
You're-
We don't have time because we have a big surprise coming up.
I know.
Yes.
I'm nervous about that.
Yes, you should be. Dana, I don't think any woman who ends up in this guy's orbit comes out any better.
You know what this is?
What?
It's a war on women.
It is!
It's a war on women.
WOMYN.
That's right.
Yeah, is that all you're going to say?
No, look, yeah, because I know we got to go, and then I don't want to take up too much time. But really, like, if you look, like, so she's in this situation. She's asking him, "Where's the money?" Like, and she apparently, as from previous reporting, we have heard that she could use it.
Yeah.
She needs it, and also, why does she need security? So that he could get on TV.
Right.
It's his fault.
Right. You know what? She's in financial straits. I hope she doesn't turn to porn.
Oh my God.
You know, because it's not a good life,
It's a war
Jesse.
on women too.
Yeah, well, I don't know anything about that life, Greg, but thanks for coming to me on that.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, in general, about whatever?
I mean, I think security costs are cheap. I don't know how he's racked up $600,000 on security for this woman. It doesn't make sense to me. When you have multiple GoFundMe pages popping up and shutting down, that's a really big red flag. And I also heard word in one of the reports that he tried to start representing members of the caravan, and he was actually booted out because he was so ridiculous in his temperament and in his style that even the people in the caravan and the other lawyers around that were trying to do noble things said, "Dude, get the heck out of here."
He's victim shopping.
He is.
He positions himself as the rescuing white knight.
Right.
And then he ends up screwing the person he's representing.
Exactly right.
Metaphorically, that is. All right. Controversy erupts over a Christmas classic, the left's ridiculous new problem with Rudolph. Ahead.
I actually did a story a few years ago where I went down to a town in Florida and they had a similar thing where everything was lit up and there'd just be massive amounts of people coming from all over.
How surprising that it was in Florida. How was the weather?
It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was.
It was very, I got a nice tan when I was down there.
I was always interested why you went, whenever you did these packages, it was always in a nice beach.
Well, we knocked out some quizzes during spring break around the same time. But neighbors have legit complaints about their streets getting crowded up. But you know what I say? Who cares? It's Christmas.
It is Christmas. And the neighbor was the mayor, you guys. So the reason that the mayor is shaking down that poor guy is because he lives 200 feet away. He's probably jealous, and he has to wade through the crowd like a Grinch before he gets home.
That. Maybe one of his relatives died through an electrocution of Christmas lights, and every day he comes home and he sees those lights and he thinks of Uncle Steve, who fried in front of him, and he was never the same. You know, you are so cruel, Emily. It's disgusting.
Uncle Steve.
Uncle Steve, yes.
Hardly. I am the Christmas elf. Okay, Juan, what would you do if that was your neighbor? Would you, like, go outside with hot chocolate, pass it around?
No, I would be upset because the streets would be crowded, everything would be a mess. But you know what? I like it because I want to go see it. So I love that stuff. But I must say, if it's in your neighborhood, and I know because I go into neighborhoods where they have big light displays. And I think this is great fun, but I know there's a throng of people all around. You can't get through. And I thought it was not fair of you to go after the mayor because he's a neighbor. He's not trying to. So he's saying, hey, look, you can't get safety vehicles through. Nothing can get through. And you know what happens at least in D.C. is like the big one, which is at a bishop's house. It ends at a certain hour so that they know that basically it's on from, nightfall around 6 until 9, and then that's it. Nobody else. And it
comports with local ordinances.
Yeah.
God bless that bishop. Dana, Candy Cane Lane.
Earlier this week, there was another story where a family, I think it was either Utah or Idaho. I think it was Idaho, where the family was sued because they had a similar situation, and guess what? They won on First Amendment grounds. So I think that we should take this war on Christmas to the Supreme Court, to the new conservative court, and see if we can end this war on Christmas once and for all.
Yes. I will take that case. Okay, another Christmas controversy we are following. Rudolph is under attack. The Huffington Post slamming the classic children's movie as, quote, seriously problematic for apparently promoting bullying, racism, sexism, bigotry, homophobia, and lack of acceptance. Dana.
Well, this is my favorite Christmas show, and one of the reasons I liked it so much is because it taught me about being kind to others. I mean, the lesson of the show is that you have to be inclusive of everyone, and that some people go through a tough time, and you need to be nice to them.
Is that why you keep telling me to watch that?
Yeah.
You know what? Rudolph, you know why his nose was red? He was a drunk, okay? He had a substance abuse problem. Look, this is how idiotic the Huffington Post is, okay? They're saying it's about bullying. It's actually against bullying. If you use the Huffington Post logic, you could never have a book that talks about good versus evil because it would contain evil in it. And they also use that phrase problematic, which is the phrase you use when you can't come up with a reason to explain what you think. By the way, the Huffington Post is owned by Verizon, so direct your letters to Verizon. They hate Christmas. They hate cute little deers.
Oh, you just blew up the PR.
But you're right. It's like the
PR
saying about fairy tales, right? That stories about dragons teach us that they can be overcome. That's why they have that place. So you're right. So, Juan, what do you think about the war on now Rudolph 2? Do you think there's something
This is
to be
silly.
said for
This
that?
is like ridiculous. I mean, who doesn't love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer? I mean, the argument is sort of an intellectual, reductive argument about the fact that there's so much bullying going on, so much picking, not only on Rudolph, but on his dad for having a son who has a red nose, and the shaming of the little guy, and then he overcomes. I understand the story. I also understand that you don't want to celebrate things like shaming, like in Cinderella. You don't want to go on about
the story.
that. So, but that's you're right, Greg. But it's in the story, and I think what they're saying is, look at this. And the way, you know what?
They're insulting everybody who reads.
No, I don't think this is about reading. It's about TV and little kids watching and seeing somebody is being bullied and
they
excluded.
love Rudolph. Everybody watches. It's on Rudolph's side, except the Huffington Post, because they're trying to. This is clickbait for a pathetic website owned by Verizon.
Oh yeah.
Jesse, your take.
Well, I mean, I empathize with Rudolph. I was severely bullied as a child, and
you deserved it.
Really?
It was my good looks, my intelligence. I was really cast aside. I had no friends. So this was one of those things. I really could see the lessons here. And the point is, you don't glorify the bulliers when you watch this. The bulliers end up being the bad guys.
The bulliers. Those are the French bullies. The bulliers.
Oui, oui. The French always lose, so that makes sense. The bulliers. So I'm surprised you corrected me, and Dana just sat there. Dana, where are you? Are you awake?
I didn't want to bully you.
Thank you.
Good.
All right, ahead, the 5 faces off in an epic battle of trivia. Find out who will be crowned the quiz show champion.
All right, as you know, I love trivia. After all, I've been on Jeopardy, winning going into the commercial break, then I lost. Okay, I lost big time. Well, now, our good friend Tom Shalhoub is here and ready to test our knowledge on fun facts like he does on his new show. On Fox Nation, it's called The Quiz Show. You can catch it weekdays at 7 p.m. Tom?
Here's how it works, guys. Jesse's the only guy who has been on the quiz show, but I hope you all come on. I answer questions. I ask questions, you answer them. You have an A, a B, and a C. Okay, I will try to be articulate.
I have a question. Why are you wearing what I wear?
Greg, let me do the question.
This is mine.
I'm a poor man's Gutfeld. You know it, Greg. That's what you told me when I started working here. Question number 1.
Poor man's Gutfeld. That's redundant.
Stop the mutiny.
Question number 1. In 1970, Richard Nixon signed a bill that prevented the television industry from doing what? A, showing full frontal nudity. B, advertising cigarettes. Or C, promoting the gaming industry.
B.
And
Emily's too young.
Emily says C. The answer is B.
Yes!
I am in first place.
Guys, don't gloat. They get tougher. Number 2. What was the first toy to ever be advertised on television? Was it A, the Slinky, B, Mr. Potato Head, or C, lawn darts?
Lawn darts.
Okay, get your answers up. Oh, all different answers here. Greg, you're upside down. You know that? The answer is B, Mr. Potato Head.
This is the advantage of having age on your side, Tom.
Well, that's right. And I want you to know, the first Mr. Potato Head, his name was Make-A-Face.
Really?
Make-A-Face.
I
thought it was Shalhoub. It wasn't Shalhoub.
To a poor man's face.
It was actually the first Mr. Potato Head. You needed to supply your own potato.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think so.
All right.
Emily, you got that one right. Greg, you trying to hurry me up?
Yes.
All right. Move it along. Here we go. Question number 3. The Nevada State Prison used to have what available to its inmates? Was it A, courses on dealing blackjack, B, monthly visits from magicians and face painters, or C, A casino. Greg's still upside down. B's, a lot of B's, a lot of C's, and the answer is C.
Yes!
Casino.
That's my jam.
Keep everybody very calm.
We're keeping you honest because I think our producers are counting the votes, so we'll know who's the winner. That's right, between 1932 and 1967.
We don't need to know.
Greg, this is the great.
We need to know our history.
Greg, the follow-up facts are what make the quiz show so special.
Maybe in your sad life, Tom, but in my life, I like to move on.
They had a casino in the Nevada State Prison. That's what I was going to tell you.
Okay, we can get it. We got it.
Number 3. Number 4. Which fast food mogul once shot a rival in the shoulder while fighting over advertising space? Was it A, Dave Thomas of Wendy's, as you know, B, Ray Kroc
that's tough.
of McDonald's, or C, Colonel Arlen Sanders from Yes KFC? Your answers, please, ladies and gentlemen. All cards are up, and the answer is C.
Colonel, he's a gun.
Sanders.
Strap.
That's a
Mad.
Strap.
Yes.
You know, this is a family show, don't you, girl?
Oh.
Okay.
What'd she do?
Dana and Emily
I'm very close
Dana and
to
Emily
swearing.
are in the lead.
Come on.
4 points each.
Women are
power.
achieving everywhere.
One has 3.
Yes,
Me
we're
too.
indeed.
So you two are behind. You gotta
Start back
catch
the
up.
war on women, Greg.
They don't have to
come back.
Whose side are you on?
Would you guys let me do
Be
my follow-up
objective.
fact? Colonel Sanders.
We don't want to know about the facts.
He shot a man in self-defense, his own business associate, and the man died. He died.
Oh,
Wait a second.
That's actually sad.
That's not a good follow-up fact. That's a sad follow-up fact.
This is
also
like
a
that's
lesson.
like the Donner Party. Did he end up in the bucket?
Here we go. Question number 5.
Fried green tomatoes.
What Grammy-winning rap superstar was born Curtis Ames Jackson? Was it A, Eminem, B, 50 Cent, or C, Lou Dobb?
You know, I want to say C, but I think Lou'd be really mad at me, and then he'd say I was anti-Trump for calling him out.
You're all B on this one, huh? Well, that's interesting because the answer is B.
By the way, he's been on FBN.
Has he?
Yeah.
Dana won and wait, that's it. I only have
Dana
5
looked
questions.
at my card
Dana
now.
won and Emily, you all.
She looked at the
have
answers.
won. Yes.
You guys met before the show.
Champion round or
Who won?
There's a reason
Wait a
I
second.
only
How can
play
you doubt that I won, dude?
the
Come
quiz
on.
show.
Come on.
with
Juan
one
won the
guest
supermarket
at a time.
showcase.
Tom, make up a
and
question off the top of your head.
How can people
Make one
play
up.
this game themselves at home, Tom?
If they subscribe to Fox Nation, they can watch it
Oh my
every
God.
night at 7 o'clock. I'm the last show
How might they
on Fox
subscribe?
Nation.
I'm curious because I don't know, despite working here, how would one subscribe?
Go to foxnation.com and you can subscribe. It's all sorts of great deals. Greg, you have a show on it, and I just watched your wonderful interview with Scott Adams on Fox Nation last
We
night.
mentioned
It's great.
drug use.
I think you guys are deflecting the fact that Greg just got 1 point.
I got two.
That was a pro performance.
I like that.
I think
You're good at
that
monologues.
that was an attempt by Emily at a cut down or a put down. Which was it? Which was it?
And you can also see almost every single Water's World segment on Fox Nation,
Which is-
almost every single one.
Wow.
What were the ones they cut?
Yeah. You got the right question, Tom. Which one?
I'll ask the questions.
Hey, by the way, do I get a little more respect having won both the supermarket and...
No, you don't
Juan's
get no
the king of the
respect.
quiz.
Okay, all right.
Thanks,
Juan.
Tom.
It's the only time one is right.
Oh, that's a-
One more thing is up next.
Call Trump now. Call Trump now.
The winner of the quiz, Mr. Williams.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. It's time of year for
wait.
Christmas miracles, and
Oh, I thought you
I've
won.
got one for you. Susie Rabach of California, she's pregnant with twins, but the 36-year-old just found out she has blood cancer and needs a bone marrow transplant. When no match could be found among 30 million people worldwide on the bone marrow registry, she went online, and with the help of country music superstar Carrie Underwood, more than 50,000 people signed up for the match registry.
Wow.
Now, here's the miracle. They found a match. Here's Rebecca.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart to everybody. This is more than I could even ask for. It's my Christmas miracle.
Wow. Rebecca will deliver her twins before undergoing the transplant. All the best. Hollywood happy miracles.
I think I Steve Harvard you on. You didn't win. Who was the winner?
I was the winner.
Oh, you guys all tied.
Hey, come on. Hey,
Greg and I lost.
Hey, what is with you? You can't even say that I won? Holy
If I don't win, I don't get
to lose this if we keep talking about it.
All right, Dana.
Okay, so if you watch the show, I like to read books. I talk a lot about books. We were talking about Fox Nation and how you can see it. So I have a show there called Dana's Book Club, and my first guest was Greg Gutfeld, and you can see a little clip here.
I get to go with my notes and my laptop to one of 4 favorite bar restaurants, sit in the back. They know me, open up the laptop and just start writing, and I drink, and I stop writing when I'm not when I'm too buzzed. They're like when all of a sudden it's like I can't read.
So it's about a 25-minute interview. It's very good, all about Greg's book.
That's 25 minutes?
Yes, 25 minutes of that. I know.
I mean, there's a lot.
25.
And that's the best part of it, by the way. That's the apex. It shows the best part.
25 whole minutes of that. Oh my God, I can't wait. All right,
You know what? They said it was their most popular download.
You are such a bullier. Stop your bullying.
Yeah, well, he's Rudolph the Red-Nosed
Anyway,
Reindeer.
FoxNation.com.
Fox Nation.
You know, is it me?
Yeah.
You know what it's time for?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Animals are great. Animals are great. Animals are great. You're going to be so sick of this. That's the goal. All right, there are 2 animals in this video. Take a look at this. You got a dog and a goat. Usually these types of films are disgusting, but not this one because the goat just loves to jump over the dog. Dog doesn't seem to mind because animals are great. Animals are great.
I think that's run its course.
It's incurable.
Oh,
Yikes.
It's incurable.
All right. This is Jesse's workout tip, everybody. Check this out. Jesse.
What is that?
That's not real.
That looks like a straight
All right, so this is a Chinese guy in Shanghai trying to do a pull-up. Look what happened. Oh! Down he goes.
Ouch.
You know what? I'm going to make an analogy. Greg, do I have your permission?
I'm afraid, but go ahead.
This is like the Chinese economy after the Trump tariffs.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? They're trying to hang on and boom.
Yeah, really.
Can't win.
Looks like GM.
Oh, cheap shot, Juan.
Oh, yeah. Is that the Chinese? I thought those were the Chinese.
All right, Emily.
Okay, so Miss May was only a puppy when her owner, Cassandra Cabrera, who was a 5-year Army soldier, was deployed to Africa. Now, Soldier Cabrera came back after an 11th-month deployment, and she was worried that while she was away, her pup wouldn't remember her. On Thanksgiving, she came back with only 1 day notice to her family, and we can see here that Miss May was jumping for joy. Absolutely adorable. I never get tired of these kinds of videos, ever.
You shouldn't.
You know why? Because animals are great.
Some animals are great, Dana. Some, not all.
Yeah.
All right, can we take this wide for a second? I just want to make sure everybody knows at home. Dana is actually wearing heels. She's even shorter.
I'm not wearing heels. I'll take them off.
Shorter than she appears on. Hey, that's Dana without any heels. Amazing.
Yeah,
and Greg's wearing heels. Greg, take your heels.
I always. I'll take mine off.
There he goes. Those are some stilettos.
You know what? You know what I have to say to that?
Yes.
Greg is great.
Greg is great.
Greg is. We're animals. No, Greg is great.
So.
I don't know about sitting in the place drinking while you're writing, but
yes, everybody check out that on Fox Nation.
Best-selling books.
All right,
Oh, my
set
God.
your DVRs. Never miss an episode of The Five. Special report up next with Brett.
Can't you get Dana an Apple box or something? All right, thanks, Jesse. This is a Fox News alert. Welcome to Washington. I'm Brett Baer. We're learning tonight that President Trump knew his former attorney was going to cop a deal hours before the rest of us, as many of us were caught off guard this morning when Michael Cohen pled guilty today at a New York courtroom to lying to Congress about a Trump real estate project in Russia. The president lambasted Cohen today before leaving for the G20 summit in Argentina, calling Cohen weak and saying he's lying. While the president has been traveling, reaction to Cohen's surprise plea agreement has been, as you can imagine, growing, as well as a lot of talk about what Cohen's agreement to work with the special counsel could now mean for the president and his family. We have Fox team coverage. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge here with a closer look at the plea deal and the legal implications. But we begin with Chief White House Correspondent John Roberts, who is in Buenos Aires tonight ahead of the president's arrival to the G20 summit. Good evening, John.
Good evening to you. Brett and I have rarely been to one of these international summits where the news of the summit has not